Running backs have a tough life in the NFL. Who's going to have the best career of this rookie class? We're going to go at it head-to-head today on Locked On NFL Draft.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of the Locked On NFL Draft Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And of course, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Tracy. He's at Ryan Tracy NFL on Twitter. I'm at Eric_Crocker, and we want to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Today, we got some good stuff, kind of following up with what we did yesterday, talking about the running backs and, kind of re-ranking them based on their landing spots. But now we're going to pin some guys against each other and talk about who's going to have the better career between these guys. Now, one thing about the running back position, it's been one of those that the value has kind of gone down a little bit. And I really feel like you can get the best running back out of an entire class way later. I mean, if you look at last season, you did have first-round pick Najee Harris. He did a terrific job with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And hell, I think maybe the second leading rusher, I don't know, the 49ers had a running back that ended up, Elijah Mitchell had just shy of 1,000 rushing yards, and he missed 4 games, or missed 5 games, and had about 30 yards shy of 1,000 yards, and he was a 6th-round pick. And the 49ers also had a 3rd-round running back that maybe had like 100 yards on the entire season. So you never kind of know who's going to give you that production out of this running back class, but that's why we're going to kind of dig deep a little bit, see where guys went, and maybe see if we can create some battles here. So we're starting off. This shouldn't be a surprise. All right, who are you taking? Who's going to have the better career? Breece Hall at Iowa State, heading to the New York Jets, or Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks, running back out of Michigan State?
Okay, so this is how my thinking goes. This is about consistency and continuity for me. How are you used? The opportunity to get yards and points on the board, get into the end zone, that's all dependent on your play caller and on your coaching staff. Well, and a large part on your offensive line as well. Who's going to build a better offensive line out of these two staffs? It's going to be close, but I'm going to wager it's probably the Jets. The younger, the more progressive type roster. But who's going to run the ball more? It's going to be Pete Carroll. Now, that's all good. That's a toss-up, right? But here's where it gets tough. Pete Carroll's 70 years old. How long is he going to be running that team? And no offense to Robert Saleh, you're in New York. You got another season or two to turn it around. How long is he going to be in that spot, right? How long is he going to have that staff?
It's got to look good this year, or he might be out after this year.
Okay.
I mean, things change very quickly up there in New York.
Yeah, you would know, my friend, folks. Eric Crocker, former New York Jet. That's what the argument is to me, and I wonder if, especially if there's a staff change in New York, if that doesn't hurt Breece Hall more. So I'm taking Kenneth Walker overall. That he will have the career with more production. Maybe not the best. Maybe he's not like the dominant player. Like we had the discussion over dominance versus longevity with Frank Gore and Jamal Charles the other day. Like this for me comes down to longevity, putting up stats. I think Kenneth Walker comes out on top.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you there. I think Kenneth Walker as well. I know I have Pierre Strong having the better start to their career, doing well right now. But again, did I say Pierre Strong? I mean,
you did.
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall, you meant.
My bad. Breece Hall. Breece Hall being the number one guy. All right. But I think if you're talking about over a long period of time, especially if there's a coaching change, I think Breece Hall fits a very specific scheme with outside zone. And if a Saleh is out of there, which is definitely something that potentially can happen, and you have to bring in another running back coach or offensive scheme, is going to work as well. Where Kenneth Walker, I think he fits a little bit more in the sense of power scheme or outside zone, inside zone. Not sure it really matters. So I just think over their entire career, I think he's going to run well in any system or any scheme that he has to play in. So I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker there, but it's definitely close. Here's another one for you. Pierre Strong, all right, New England Patriots, running back out of South Dakota, I believe, and Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M. He's playing for the Chargers now. Got a good running back ahead of him. What are you thinking about the battle between those two guys and who will have the better career?
Well, now, folks, if you missed yesterday, I had those guys both on my top 5 list. I think I need to flip them overall, though, because I think opportunity is going to be better for for Isaiah Spiller early. I think Pierre Strong will come on and eventually be the bell cow there that they're going to have to lean on. So in the end, I think Spiller will always be a timeshare guy. I don't think he's ever going to be the lead back, the only back, the 80% of the carries guy. So I think in the end, it comes down to how is your coach going to use you? And again, they don't know who the offensive coordinator is yet, right? Maybe they never know. Maybe they never name one. And does that hurt the run game? It very well might. But in the end, I think it works out. And I think Pierre Strong is that lower round guy that ends up having the better career.
One thing about the New England Patriots and how they run the rock, I talked about on the previous episode how you never know from week to week, who's going to get the rock. But for some reason, they do get production out of guys, and I could see Pierre Strong doing well. Will they ever commit to him? That's the part we don't know. Whereas Isaiah Spiller with the LA Chargers, I could see them committing to him. I could see them saying, hey, this is our guy. I mean, they've been waiting for a guy to really kind of take that role. Obviously, you have Austin Eckler, and he's been terrific. And everyone that they have behind him, Kelly and all these other guys, they've been waiting for someone to really kind of take the reins there to where they can use Eckler as more of a specialty type guy. Well, they haven't been able to do that. And they've been having to use him at the goal line, really all over the field in the passing game. And he's done a terrific job of that. But I think eventually they might want to lean more towards going with a guy like Spiller, who I think has a terrific 3-down back type capability, but just needs that opportunity. And again, I think he got bumped down a little bit because of 40 time, didn't test as well. Well, once you get to the NFL, again, you can run a 4.62 and still be a dominant running back in the NFL. We see it all the time. Even though the game is getting a little bit faster, don't think it'll worry. And when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who's going to back off coverage, you got to play a little bit more too high because he's throwing the ball down the field. Well, that's going to open up a little bit more running lanes for a guy like Isaiah Spiller. So I'm going to actually go with Isaiah Spiller on this one. We do have a few more guys that we're going to get to in this battle coming up next. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices that you won't find at your traditional jeweler. Whether you are ready to pop that big question or you are celebrating a milestone moment, find a jewelry that is as unique as her with modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Build the engagement ring of her dreams or celebrate life's special moments with fine jewelry. No matter what you're looking for, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On NFL Draft listeners get $50 off of purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive engagement is ready to go. And when you check out, use promo code Locked On. That's promo code Locked On. Plus, every order is insured and ships free, and it arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what is inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece at BlueNile.com today. We definitely want to let you know that the Ultimate Mock Draft has now started. It started June 16th with over 50 insiders. Nothing equals the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft. The Locked On NBA Big Board Draft experts, plus the Odyssey insiders as well. The first pick was June 16th, and they're going to continue doing that. So search Ultimate NBA Mock Draft and follow now so you don't miss out on a pick. All right, here we go. Here's some good ones here. I had to dig deep a little bit for this one. All right, we got Brian Robinson, running back out of Alabama. He's over there with the Commanders, and we know they have a good running back there ahead of him. And then we have Tyler Badie, running back for the Baltimore Ravens out of Missouri. Which one of these guys is going to have? I actually want to hear who thinks is going to have the better season as a rookie, and then who's going to have the better career.
The battle of the DC loop. Look at you getting all geographical. All right, fine. Fine. I can take it. That is a great matchup because I think the usage for Badie is going to be pretty cool up front. Does that turn into longevity? I just don't know. And in Washington, the quarterback's going to try. They're going to try. But if it falls apart, like we saw what Wentz did in Indy, where it just doesn't get it done, no offense, he's no Jonathan Taylor. So I think what you're going to see is that eventually will give way. And I think overall, while I think Badie might have the best first season, I think overall Robinson may come on, may be that guy that just keeps on grinding and ends up having the better career.
I'm actually going to go with Badie and say he's going to have both the better rookie year and overall. I mean, we're talking about a guy playing with Baltimore. They want to run the rock. I know they have Edwards there, and we'll see what happens with him. But I've been listening in on how people are talking about Edwards, and he's really been more a product of Lamar Jackson being in the backfield with him as opposed to a guy that is just like that guy as a running back. And I think they still want that. So I think Tyler Badie, I think he's in a perfect opportunity situation for him to really come in and kind of say, you know what, yeah, I'm that guy and I want to take control. And hey, Lamar Jackson, I love it. We can be in the backfield together and we can grow together and do all kind of really great things as a tandem there. So I'm actually going to go with Tyler Badie over Brian Robinson, even though I do really like Brian Robinson. I like the way he runs the rock. And I was a little bit surprised when I was at the Senior Bowl and I saw him run with a little bit more twitch than I was expecting to see. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's a big bruiser out of Alabama. I think he has a terrific game to him. The way he runs the rock, I mean, he arrives with bad intentions. And he is definitely the hammer, not the nail. All right, he makes defenders the nail. So this is a big guy, big, strong runner. But I'm going to go with Tyler Badie here, really based more so on the situations and thinking that the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to run the ball a lot and they're going to lean on multiple running backs. I think eventually Tyler Badie will be the guy that they commit to. But here we go. Got one more battle between a couple guys here. All right, so we got Rachaad White. All right, that's who we got first. We got
Rachaad White. I'm just taking it. Whoever it is, I'm taking it.
All right, Rachaad White for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, obviously out of Arizona State, we're talking about a guy playing for Tampa Bay. They got Leonard Fournette. And
for now,
that's it. And I think that's a great way to put it right there for now. All right, now he's going up in this exercise against Ty Davis-Price, 3rd round pick for the San Francisco 49ers.
So I get my Sun Devil no matter what. I'm good with that. And it's not just that fact. It is because I think Rachaad White has some things to work on. He's got details he's got to iron out. He's got a couple things, but he's got the spark, and I like the way that he runs. I think he's going to learn from Fournette. Fournette's to the point now, backside of the career, I think you could say. The injuries have always been an issue for Lenny. And if they can get that squared away, then he can be productive, but you got to supplement. So I think it'll be kind of a slow feed for White to begin with. But I think as he comes on and as you see Tom Brady eventually ride off into the sunset and stay there, that they're going to have to run the ball more. I think White's going to be in a position to take that up in that short frame time. So I will take Rachaad White over and over and over and over.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. And obviously, I cover the 49ers, fan of the 49ers as well. And they did draft Ty Davis-Price. This is a big bruising back out of Louisiana State there, LSU. And the thing with the 49ers is you just kind of never know, right? Like I talked about how they drafted a running back 3rd round last season. And it didn't matter. He didn't really get the love. They gave a lot of the carries to Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell was just shy of 1,000 yards. Now, there were games where Elijah Mitchell had to carry the ball 27 times, and the 49ers ended up kind of resorting to having to put Deebo Samuel in the backfield. And they're like, hey, we don't want to have to put Deebo back there. We need another running back that we can really count on. And can they at the very least kind of split the carries to where we're talking about, hey, Ty Davis-Price getting, 10 to 13 carries a game while Elijah Mitchell kind of gets the rest. Especially with that young quarterback there, Trey Lance. I mean, if you handed the ball off 30 times to running backs, I would not be surprised at all. And Kyle Shanahan, there's times where he's saying, hey, I want to run the ball 40 times. There were several games last year where they ran the ball 40 times, and that's what they want to do. Like, that's their identity, especially with this big bruiser back there. So Ty Davis-Price, he's going to have the opportunity there. But again, will he have as much opportunity as Rachaad White? And that's the one thing. Matter of fact, I'm actually going to flip my answer here because I'm going with Rachaad White. But no, I'm going to go with Ty Davis-Price. And this is why. I talked about Ty Davis-Price and having Elijah Mitchell there. It's the 49ers. But Elijah Mitchell was banged up a lot last year. He really was not healthy. He dealt with rib injuries. He dealt with knee injuries. He had all kind of things going on. And again, I talked about him missing 4 or 5 games last season. That is not ideal. And that's going to open the door for a guy like Ty Davis-Price to really take control of that position. If he can stay healthy, he can run well. If he continues to have good vision. Now, he's more of an inside zone runner, and the 49ers will do that. But, man, I mean, if he can get some of that outside zone vision, which I didn't quite see, but if he can kind of develop that, we're talking about a guy who can definitely be a 3-down back for the San Francisco 49ers. And they will not hesitate to use a guy that they spent the 3rd-round pick on as opposed to Elijah Mitchell the year before, who ran well, but still felt the need to draft a guy in the 3rd round. So we're going to see what happens there. I'm taking Ty Davis-Price. Sorry, faithful, 49er faithful out there. I almost flipped on our guy, but we're good here. We're good here. When we come back, Ryan Tracy has something for me, and I don't know exactly what it is. I can't wait to hear it. You can't wait to hear it. Keep it locked right here, Locked On NFL Draft. We definitely want to let you know that BetOnline is your #1 source for all of your betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments in league reviews and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head over right now to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action going on at BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, Croc. I'm the captain now. All right, so here we go. 3 guys. I want your take on them because we've talked about a lot of running backs the last 2 days. The guy that's going to have the best career, in my opinion, we still haven't said his name. Ooh. So I want to know what you think about these 3 dudes. First, the other guy that never got talked about enough, Samir White out of Georgia, goes to the Raiders. What does he do with his career?
Oh, I mean, I think he's set up in a great spot. This is a guy that we probably should have talked more about. You look at what they have going on there right now, and Josh Jacobs, is he on his way out of Las Vegas? Like, are they going to want to continue to kind of give him the ball and all that, health issues, things like that? He started off strong. And it was like, okay, it's looking good. But as of late, I'm not quite sure. So I do think that White has a tremendous opportunity there to eventually be that guy. And if you're talking about a running back benefiting off of an offense, right? You have Derek Carr there. He definitely can throw the rock around. But who's he throwing the rock to? Darren Waller. A lot of attention to him. I don't know this guy named Devontae Adams.
Who?
A lot of attention going to him. And then they have one of the more underrated guys in the league, in Hunter Renfrow. All right, so 3 guys that you have to legitimately worry about on any given down. We just talked about this with John Harris last week about, what offense, what trio would you like? Well, I know one thing. If I'm a running back and I have that trio of pass catchers ahead of me, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because now they're going to open things up for me in the run game. And the Raiders are going to kind of lean on that. So I think White, I think he can really do some good things. You got to get Josh Jacobs out of there.
Right.
We'll see if he can do that. Maybe replace him, start pushing him for carries. And if so, he should have a tremendous career with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to tell you my top guy yet. Wait, folks, because I didn't know what you think about the guy in Cleveland. Because Kareem Hunt may be looking at the end of his time there. He's never going to be the guy because Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb. He's the best running back in this league. I don't care who you talk to. I'm not having that discussion today. But he may become the 2-punch to him. And I like what Jerome Ford brings. Yeah. What do you see him doing with his career?
I mean, again, that his coach comes from that Kubiak run game offense, which, again, breeded guys like Kyle Shanahan, which, again, there's that trickle-down effect from there, right? But outside zone, some inside stuff. A guy like Jerome Ford who has that breakaway speed. I know his 40 time wasn't as great as people were kind of expecting, but you see the speed on film for sure. And he's a guy that has that type of ability. And I mean, I think, one thing we've seen with the Browns, I think they do a really good job of giving both Kareem Hunt and Chubb the rock. Like those guys, it almost felt like a 50-50 split almost. And it sounds like they're trying to get Kareem Hunt out of there. And if they can, then I think that's a perfect opportunity for a guy like Ford. And It's like, look, you don't have to 100% be the guy. You don't have to be a 3-down back. You just have to come in and you might get a possession, do well in the possession, do well with your opportunity. And even that, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about 2,000-yard rushers on the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. And, I mean, who's their quarterback going to be? That's a huge question as well. So if it ends up being who we think is going to be for most of this season, which is Brissett, you need to lean on that run game. All right, you need to lean on that run game. So I see him really getting a lot of carries and maybe kind of a sleeper in fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about the fantasy aspect. I'm with you. All right. So I kind of held this back for the end because this is a really unique situation. But the more that I look at it, the more I think all these backs are good. But who's going to have the longevity? Who's going to be able to affect the game the most? And who's set up to be in an offense that really maximizes the creativity that he's going to get, the lineups he's going to get, and the pass catching available. This game's going more and more to pass all the time. This guy gets to play. He was picked just after Jerome Ford and gets to play for Sean McVay. And when you get down to it, I don't care that he's undersized. I don't care that he's not the fastest. He grinds out yards inside. He catches the ball well. He does it all. And I think in the end, Kyren Williams may have the best career of any back in this class. Am I crazy?
You are not crazy. And I think the biggest issue that he has is he went out there and ran a 4.7. I mean, this is a guy that people are really excited about. And I think when you look at kind of the running backs on the roster for the Rams right now, especially if guys aren't healthy or back to kind of what you thought they would be, like Cam Akers, there's going to be opportunity for a guy like Kyren Williams. I think he runs very well. I think he's definitely a versatile back. He just might not be a guy that breaks off 50-yard touchdown runs. That's fine. Yeah. I don't need you to do that. Can you pick up 10 yards? Can you rip off 10-yard runs, 15-yard runs, 20-yard runs here and there, but consistently give me those 3 to 4, 5-yard carries? I think Kyren Williams definitely, regardless of that lack of like true breakaway speed, he's definitely a guy that can give you that. And one thing we've seen about them, the Rams, they're going to lean heavy on that 11 personnel. Yep. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. They don't do a whole lot of fullback type stuff or anything like that. So he's going to be able to kind of, as long as he can have that vision for that outside zone and that stretch, and we know what they're going to do with the big boots off the play action, Matthew Stafford, throw the ball down the field. I think Kyren Williams can definitely excel in there. He has one of the more opportunities depending on the running back. Because Cam Akers, there was a lot of hype about him before the injury. Yeah. Right? Like, this was a guy, they're like, oh, man, year 2, Cam Akers, he's going to be awesome. And we were all expecting that. Obviously, he blew his Achilles. And then he came back during the season. And, I mean, if you go back and you kind of watch some of the playoffs, he wasn't healthy. He wasn't back to his normal self. Well, when will he be back to being his normal self? And if he's not, again, that opens the door for a guy like Kyren Williams. No. So this is a guy, again, we're talking about 2 guys that you just mentioned, a few guys actually, but definitely Kyren Williams. And you're talking about Jerome Ford. These are guys that are going to have big-time opportunities, I think, to really kind of carve out their role in an offense.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens, folks. If you think I'm crazy, put it in the comments. Don't tweet at Crock. It's all my fault. You can hit me at Ryan Tracy NFL. It's all one word on Twitter. It's fun.
Right. And you can follow me at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. We thank you for making us your first listen of the day. And for your second listen of the day, Locked On Kansas City Chiefs with my guy Ryan Tracy. Locked On 49ers with myself and Brian Peacock. And make sure you listen to any of the Locked On pods across the entire platform. Cool stuff going on. Obviously, you got basketball, you got hockey, you got soccer, all that stuff, and we got something for everyone. So shout out to the Locked On Network. Make sure you tune into everything that we have going on with that. But until next time, we will see y'all. We're out. Peace.